All right, breaking news at 6. We are tracking Ian as it makes its way across South Carolina. The storm made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane today, impacting areas from the low country all the way to the upstate. And we have team coverage for you across the Midlands and the upstate as we track Ian. Take a look here. We have live reporters standing by in Cherokee County, Spartanburg County, and Columbia right now. And now this was the scene. Landfall as a Category 1 hurricane on South Carolina's coast. You can see the storm surge covering up roads in Myrtle Beach this afternoon. We're going to begin that team coverage with Chief Meteorologist Christy Henderson. And Christy, we are seeing impacts with Ian now.
Yeah, we are, Amy. That rain has been on the increase this afternoon from east to west, and that trend is going to continue through the evening hours. So a lot of people in the western upstate, northeast Georgia haven't seen much at all as far as rain is concerned today, but there's this huge rain shield that's going to kind of pivot towards the west during the evening hours, and it's going to include everyone. It's just that the highest amounts, as expected, will be focused over eastern portions of our viewing area. So from Gaffney, Rutherfordton, Spartanburg, Union, those areas may pick up an inch of rain or more with some of these higher rain rates, but by the time the rain works too far to the west, it begins to fall apart. So very active weather across our area. The circulation associated with what is now post-tropical cyclone Ian far to our east, but close enough to give us some impacts, and the rain is keeping things cool too. We're only in the 50s where it's coming down, drier areas in the 60s, even 70s. Winds are gusty as well, gusting to 40 miles an hour in Gaffney, 35-mile-an-hour wind gust at Greenwood, gusting to over 30 miles per hour in Hendersonville and Rutherfordton. So overall rain totals come down just because that track keeps shifting farther to the east, so maybe a quarter of an inch in some spots west, eastern portions of the area, 1 to 2 inches possible, of course, greater amounts closer to that track. Wind advisory does remain in effect until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about what to expect for the weekend coming up in a few minutes. Amy?
Christy, thanks. We're continuing team coverage in Cherokee County, where we have been watching very closely for the impacts of Ian. 7 News reporter Alessandra Young is joining us live from Gaffney with more on conditions there right now. And Allie, we've seen the rain increase in that area, right?
Good evening, Amy. Just like you said, we are continuously seeing rain and wind. And like we just heard from Chief Meteorologist Christy Henderson, we're expecting around an inch of rain here, and the wind gusts is around in the 40s. Now, take a look at the roads. And you can see the rain coming down. The wind is blowing in the trees. And I actually just spoke with the fire chief and got an update. He says they haven't gotten any calls or reports for wind issues or flooding as of right now, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be careful. He says people should watch out for downed trees and debris and could experience power outages. If you are having strong winds near you, he says head to your basement, a room with no windows, or a room in the center of your home. Now, the key is to get to as low ground to the as possible, And so we're going to have a wind advisory out here through the night and into tomorrow. We'll continue to give you updates. For now, live in Gaffney, Alessandra Young, 7 News.
Allie, thanks. So we're continuing team coverage in Spartanburg County tonight, keeping a close eye on conditions there. 7 News' Asia Wilson joining us for a live look. Asia, what do you see?
Yeah, the wind has picked up a lot here. In fact, it was hard for me to keep my place here. I had to catch myself quite a few times since the rain and the wind has picked up within the last hour. And if you look behind me here, you can see that the streets are somewhat quiet. Earlier today, we did see many people walking down the street. We see a few walking down now, but it's been a pretty steady, heavy rain here. And as I said, it's still really windy here. Many people I spoke with say that they are trying to stay inside as much as they can. Some of the businesses have also said that they haven't seen as much traffic as they normally would see on a Friday night. But again, right now the Spartanburg County Emergency Management tells me they haven't seen like major impacts or anything like that. But we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more. From now, we're live in Spartanburg County. Asia Wilson, 7 News.
All right, Asia, thanks. And we're continuing our storm coverage right now in the state capitol, where we've seen some damage and severe impacts from Ian earlier in the day. Our Jason Raven is at the Emergency Operations Center in Columbia, and I know you even went out and saw some of the damage yourself, Jason.
Amy, we did. We've been here at the Emergency Operations Center just getting updates from state officials, and they're closely monitoring things that are going on around the state, especially along the coast, just seeing kind of the majority of the damage and impact from Ian. They pre-positioned crews to help out, but we took some time to check out the Columbia area in the Midlands. Now I want to show you some video from earlier that we found. This is probably the most severe damage we saw. This is a tree that had come down on a small business off of Divine Street in downtown Columbia. This is near the 5 Points area, if you're familiar with the capital city. Now, we spoke with the owner of this small business. They say the tree came down around midnight. They received calls about it, and no one's really sure exactly why it came down, but it was pretty gusty here in the capital city last night. Now, crews from the city helped respond and help with cleanup, and they even had restoration crews in the small business, and they say that this Pilates studio, they'll be doing classes in other locations in the city. But if we hear of any other major storm damage here in Columbia, we'll be sure to let you guys know. Amy and Taylor.
All right, thank you so much. Jason Raven reporting live tonight. Areas north of Charleston saw the worst of the storm surge as Ian came ashore this afternoon. We have video from Pawleys Island just south of Myrtle Beach. Rough waves were battering the beaches before flooding inland areas. Pawleys Island police announced on Twitter they've made at least one rescue today, and they also tweeted out some sad news that the Pawleys Island pier collapsed. The city of Georgetown saw some major flooding ahead of Hurricane Ian's landfall. The National Hurricane Center says Ian made landfall just south of Georgetown at just after 2 o'clock, 2:05 p.m. You can see the water there on Front Street starting to make its way inland, and the strength of the winds just battering the trees. Of course, you can stay on top of Ian and stay with the 7 News and 7 Weather apps, as they're free to download in your favorite app store. We also have the latest track of the hurricane, live radar, and updated weather forecasts available. You'll also find that information, all of it, 24/7 on WSPA.com. And next on 7 News, when natural disasters like Hurricane Ian strike, people affected need immediate assistance. We have more on how agencies all over the upstate are prepared to help you and your family. And getting ready for game day, how Clemson University is preparing to host a national sports network ahead of the game tomorrow.